Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Hope everyone's doing well on this Tuesday night. It is November 3rd, 2020. I thought I would do a different video tonight. I was going to do the corner post, but I'm going to wait until after State of Origin 1. I'll do the corner post later in the week, so stay tuned for that. But tonight's video is going to be my top 5 favourite State of Origin games that I've seen now. I'm not going to put any of the Origin games from the 80s or the 90s because I didn't really see that era. I've watched a fair few of the old games, but I'm going to go with the games that I've seen in my time, you know, probably from 2005 onwards, and I'll give you my top 5 favourite. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're not that far off 900 subscribers. I think we're at about 845 at the moment, so it'll be very nice if you can subscribe to the channel. Anyway, without further ado, there's not going to be any bias in here. There is one Queensland result that I have put in this list. So, without further ado, Nick from Australia's top 5 State of Origin matches. And we'll start off with number 5, which is going to be Game 3 of 2016, where New South Wales defeated Queensland 18 points to 14. It was a dead rubber. Queensland had already won the series. They were already up 2-0 in 2016. And in Game 3, 2016, New South Wales were on the verge of losing 3-0. And I remember the game very well because New South Wales had a bit of a young side back then. They didn't have, obviously, the quality of the Queenslanders. You know, the likes of Thurston, Cronk, Smith, Slater, and all these guys. Slater wasn't there, actually, because I think he was injured. But there was about a minute and a half to go. Matt Moylan throws a nice little short ball to Blake Ferguson. Ferguson runs downfield, gives the ball back on the inside to James Tedesco. He takes the tackle, and then they get up with about a minute and a half to go. James Maloney throws a pass, bounces to Gallen. Gallen gives it to Michael Jennings. He steps back on the inside. Jennings scores, gives the Blues the 16-14 lead. Aaron Woods does his fucking diving headbutt. Completely misses everyone, takes himself out. You would have seen it before. It's fucking hilarious. Aaron Woods jumps over everyone, misses everyone entirely, and it's fucking hilarious. But the reason why I loved it so much was because Queensland were already up 2-0 in the series. They already had it up. It was a dead rubber. If Queensland won 3-0, I think that whole New South Wales crowd would have been all depressed and sad. But great moment to see New South Wales do what Queensland do. Queensland always seem to be underdogs in Origin and steal the game late. And it was good to see New South Wales win that game and not make it a 3-0 loss. So, well done to New South Wales on that one. And I love that game really well. I love that game a lot because, you know, it was gone. It was game over. And then Jennings, beautiful try. And Aaron Woods with the diving headbutt attempt, celebration, completely missed it. And it was good to watch, and I really love that game. So that is number 5. Number 4 on my list is Game 2 of 2014, where Trent Hodkinson scored with about 9 minutes to go to level the game at 4-4, and he kicked the conversion to win the game, and New South Wales took the lead at 6 points to 4, and eventually they held on for about 8 minutes, New South Wales, and they won the series for the first time in 8 years. Now, if you go back from 2006 to 2014, Queensland went 8-0 in Origin, and people were saying that Origin was dead, and New South Wales will never win another series, and it was absolutely fucked. And then they found the right halves combination because for so many years they kept going with Mitchell Pearce, and it just wasn't working. And I kind of feel sorry for Mitchell Pearce because he was up against the likes of Thurston, Cronk, Smith, Lockyer, Slater, Inglis, all these immortals. And 2014, they had the right combination. They had the Bulldogs halves. They had Josh Reynolds and Trent Hodkinson. And there was 9 minutes to go in the game. The Queensland were leading 4-0. And we thought it was going to go to a Game 3 decider because the Blues won Game 1. And we're thinking to ourselves, well, this is going to be fucked here. And then 9 minutes to go. Trent Hodkinson gets the ball. He dummies on Daly Cherry Evans. Goes straight through. Puts the ball down. And the conversion, it's an easy kick for Hodkinson, but really, it was a tough kick because a lot of pressure on him, and he kicked the goal. Blues go up 6 points to 4. With about 3 minutes to go, Thurston gets frustrated, elbows Josh Reynolds on the ground. The crowd erupted. I thought it was going to be a fight between Reynolds and Thurston, but New South Wales held on to win, and they won that Origin series for the first time in 8 years. It was a great, memorable moment for mine. I loved it, and it was great to see the Blues break that 8-year drought, which was disappointing, but up the Blues, and that is number 4 on the list. Number 3 is going to be one that Queensland won, which I'm still not happy with, but I'm happy for the moment because it was Game 2, 2017, where Jonathan Thurston, my favourite player of all time, in my opinion, the best halfback of all time, along with Andrew Johns, but it was Game 2, 2017. New South Wales won Game 1 very convincingly. I believe it was at Suncorp Stadium. I think the Blues flogged Maroons in Game 1, 2017, but Game 2, it was in New South Wales. The Blues were looking to wrap up the series, and they were leading 16-6, I think it was, and they were home for all money. And at this point, it was 16-12, and Queensland are on the attack. Michael Morgan gets the ball, runs towards the right side, gives a nice little flick on the inside to Dane Gagai, and he scores out near the corner, and it's 16-all, and all Thurston has to do is kick the goal to win the game. And the reason why it's one of my favourite moments is because in 2015, obviously, Thurston missed the conversion to win the premiership for the Cowboys, and he ended up kicking the field goal. But this was 2 years on. It was a very similar spot, and Thurston kicked it, and he won the game for Queensland. His shoulder was hanging by a thread. I remember he got injured in the second half. I think it was a run by Tyson Frizzell, and Thurston sort of got injured in the tackle, and Thurston was playing bust. He was playing on the wing. He was pretty much a statue in the second half. And to step up and kick the goal to pretty much win the game for Queensland with 3 minutes to go, shoulders hanging by a thread. He was out for the season. And it was one of the great moments in Origin football and one of the best moments I've ever seen. It was one of the clutchest conversions of all time. And to do it with a busted shoulder, and, you know, it was just guts and effort, and it was just absolute brave at its best. So, well done to Thurston, and well done to Queensland on that one. So that is number 3 on my list of my top 5 favourite Origins. Number 2 on my list is Game 3 of 2019. Last year's Game 3, the decider of last year, when New South Wales defeated Queensland 26 points to 20 at ANZ Stadium. Now, you've seen the try 1,000 times. It's one of the great Origin tries, one of the best tries you'll ever see in a big game. I'm not sure if you'll ever see a better try in a big game of this. Now, this was unbelievable. So there was about a minute to go, or 2 minutes to go, actually. Queensland had the ball. They were about 35, 40 metres out. Now, Daly Cherry Evans could have went for a field goal here, but he decided to put up a bomb. And Tedesco caught the bomb, and New South Wales made a few metres. Now, they were about 50 metres away. They were just around the halfway line. Cameron Murray gets the ball, throws it to Mitchell Pearce, throws a very gutsy pass. It was a risky one. Threw it over to Tommy Turbo. He gets the ball. He gives it on to Blake Ferguson. He is sprinting down the sideline, somehow stayed in the field of play. Gives a nice pass back on the inside to James Tedesco. Any Queenslanders out there who think it's full can go and get fucked. Tedesco catches the ball, and he scores the try. Could have gave it to Mitchell Pearce, but Tedesco was home, and New South Wales win the game with about 30 seconds to go. The Blues win this series, back-to-back Origin series for the first time since 2005, and it was an unbelievable moment and an unbelievable Origin series too last year. Now, great moment, and you know it was a great moment for Mitchell Pearce because he's been criticised, or he was criticised, and rightly so, because you know he did not live up to the hype in recent years, and he got one more opportunity in Origin. He got one more chance, and he threw one of the riskiest passes I've ever seen. He wouldn't have threw that pass 5 years ago. If he did, it would have been intercepted by someone like Inglis or Folau or fucking Slater. But he threw the pass. It was brave, unbelievable effort. And, you know, I remember the game well. If Pearce had scored it, I would have won about $2,000. But anyway, enough about that. But it was a great moment. One of my favourite Origins of all time. Brad Fittler runs onto the field. The game's over. The Blues win 26-20. Unbelievable effort. Unbelievable Origin game. And it's number 2 on my list. And number 1, My favourite State of Origin match of all time. I don't know if this will ever be. I don't know if this will ever not be number one. I think it'll always be number one in my books. Game 2, 2005. The Andrew Johns return. New South Wales defeated Queensland in Game 2. 32 points to 22 to level the series. Now, if you go back to 2005 for a minute, a lot of people probably won't remember. Andrew Johns broke his jaw at the start of the 2005 season. He was out, gone. And I remember in Game 1 of 2005, Brett Kimmorley had an absolute shocker of a game. He threw a pass and Matt Bowen intercepted it. And Queensland won Game 1 in Golden Point. And Brett Kimmorley was dropped. And I remember Trent Barrett got injured at training about maybe a week before the game. And they called in Andrew Johns, who had absolutely no match fitness at club level because he was injured because of his broken jaw. He had a knee problem. He had all sorts of things going for him. So they call up Andrew Johns, who was starting to get fit. Ricky Stewart rings Joey up. Joey comes in, and he has, in my opinion, the best individual performance at Origin level that I've ever seen. He absolutely tore Queensland to shreds. He dominated them, and he was absolutely unbelievable. One of the best Origin performances I've ever seen, and one of the best tries in Origin too. One of my favourite tries was the one where Joey got the ball, and he sort of went back towards the middle, but then he gave it back that way to Danny Badiris, and it was just a fantastic try. It's one of the great tries. It's honestly, if you have a look at it, you're thinking, how the fuck did he get through that gap? How did he get Badiris on the inside? Unbelievable try, and you know, the Blues went on to win the series. They were down 1-0. Brett Kimmorley filled an intercept in Game 1. Matt Bowen scored. Queensland were up 1-0. They went to Sydney. Joey returned. Absolutely destroyed them. And then in Game 3, New South Wales blew them apart up in Queensland. And Joey had another blinder. So, number one, my top 5 State of Origin, my number one favourite State of Origin game is Game 2 of 2005. Andrew Johns, the return. Game 2, unbelievable. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. It's one of the great Origin games, and it's my favourite. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this video for my top 5 favourite State of Origin matches. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Looking forward to State of Origin tomorrow night, Game 1 in Adelaide. It's going to be fantastic. I will be doing a review straight after the game. Go into the giveaway if you haven't already. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Until then, have a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next one.